Okay, so here's the thing. This was originally going to be a documentary about how I threw the essentials such as some socks, underwear, headphones, a computer, a blender for margaritas, and several beers into a suitcase so I could take a 9-day road trip in 3 parts. Part 1, of course, would be me by myself driving into the depths of Arizona with the essentials I just previously mentioned in my lucky 2007 powder blue Ford Taurus with 2 bumper stickers and some minor body damage leading to a great time. From the depths of Arizona, I would go into the more populated Phoenix, where it was currently 113 degrees, to meet with my best friend and her bandmate and a guy who looks like Jesus, so we could drive to the American Southwest, see a lot of weird gas stations and some strange landmarks, including this one that had tanks. 22 hours later, we capped off part 2 of our journey by checking into our Airbnb in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and meeting up with our compatriots, which included a Navy crewman and a Dutch tattoo artist. This overwhelmed with so much joy, we immediately began partying and making mistakes. We, being a bunch of irresponsible adults, only thing we have purchased, food-wise, in the last 24 hours is beer. After we had what you can assume is a healthy and well-rounded breakfast, the mohawks were put up, the vests were studded, and we left. So the next 25 seconds of black screen serves 2 purposes. 1, to explain to you why we were there. We came to Oklahoma for a music festival called Fuck You, We Rule, OK. The second is to explain that it took this same amount of time for me to realize that as I watched a man run out from the club the festival was taking place at, covered in blood because he'd been punched in the face in the pit, that I couldn't make this documentary about me. This was going to be about something much, much bigger.
Her name is under my resume. Yeah. You're really cool.
Thank you. I mean, only...
Alright, this is the last fucking time right now. Let's wake the fuck up. I want to thank my friends, the fucking casualties. Let's give it up for the fucking casualties right now. Come in here and fucking sing with us. Let's have a good fucking time.
So upon arrival and watching thousands of other punks gather together to get drunk and fuck each other up in a pit, it reinforced the old statement that punk's not dead. We've shouted it to each other for decades now, from country to country, from scene to scene. And yet it feels as though if you're not in one of these scenes, you're going to be consistently overlooked. And this immediately got me asking some questions. The first of which being, do you think punk is on the rise or the decline? Well, let's go ahead and meet our lucky contestants.
So what's your name, man?
My name is Mike.
My name is Chris VR.
Alyssa. Lizzie Rush. I'm Adrian.
I'm D.
Ziel Bajabi. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. My name's Nicholas.
I think it's been on the decline a little bit. It doesn't seem to be pulling in as many kids, but you get like pockets, I think. I think there's pockets of it.
I mean, it always goes up and down, but right now it's on the rise.
Honestly, I think it's on the rise again. I think it was declining for some time, but I've been seeing a lot more kids in our local scene and even nationally, and I love doing it. I was once a young punk, and some older punks were great to me, and I love to pay it forward, so I'm happy to see it picking up again. I think it's on the rise.
I think there's been trends in it though, you know, it's certain things like hardcore becomes more, and then there's like street punk or ska comes back, so I think it's kind of cyclical.
It's honestly been on the rise since the last 3 years. I have been booking more shows than I ever have in my entire life. So seriously, it's been on the rise, and people say who aren't fucking looking.
We might always be the minority, but I feel like the people who are into it are almost like woken, like they're, you know, there's something about it that like piques people's interest.
I think people just kind of get bored sometimes. sometimes, or it's the nature of anything. Things come and go, you know, weather, storms, anything like that, it's always going to come and go. Trends are going to change. There's going to be some people that stick in it forever, and then there's going to be other people that get tired of it and move on.
I think it's on the rise. I grew up in the local Tulsa punk scene, so I've seen it crash and revive multiple times.
I'm pretty fucking passionate about the scene and about like whatever fucking movement there is, I guess.
For me, I think punk is not necessarily on the rise or on the decline. I think it's on a plateau, probably dip into a bit of down, but I think it's one of those things that will tend to always exist in some measure or another, because there's always going to be that desire for people to just be different, be angry, be loud, be ridiculous, charge up their fucking hair, and just let it fucking scream out and party and have a good time.
It might always be on the decline, but there'll always fucking be a scene for it, no matter how fucking small it is, and that's like the greatest thing about
That's the best part about it. It doesn't have to be up, or it doesn't have to be down.
Like you and me,
It's
fucking
fucking
you drove
there.
1,000 miles to fucking get here. Why? To fucking support the scene, dude. Because once it's dead, it's fucking gone.
I'm definitely saying it's pretty alive.
Let's Important to eat.
You doing okay, Scott?
Not dead yet.
You know, well, fucking 10 out of 10 on that shit.
With us. Let's have a good fucking time.
been known as the
Area over there speaks Italian, the other speaks French, and then there's...
Moira was one of our traveling companions who came to Tulsa all the way from the Netherlands, and as she was describing what it was like living in a European country, it got me thinking about our own current political situation, which Jesus began expressing right here. Politics and punk have always been deeply intertwined with each other. Bands like The Clash and Reagan Youth cut their teeth telling political contemporaries to fuck off, so this brought me to my next question. Which was, given our current political situation, what does it mean to be punk in 2017?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's the same just like in every other, like, decade, century, whatever the fuck. Because, you know, regardless of time, like, we're still dealing with the same bullshit constantly.
It's like a way to resist. And it wouldn't even fucking matter if Hillary Clinton got elected. I would have been just as judgmental about her as I am Trump right now.
I feel like punk is derived from fucking anarchism. And anarchism means, like, no fucking rules. So even just like our current political situation is like extra fucked up, but it's always fucked up.
There's a lot of people who are getting pushed aside and fucking oppressed right now. People who should be able to just live free and fucking enjoy being who they are. And I almost feel like it's our duty as people who are different and a little outside the societal norms to step up to those people who may not have a voice. We're in this situation because we never felt we had a voice. So if we can give a voice to someone else, then I think that's almost a part of what it means to be this way, part of a mission.
I think it means that we're tired of getting fucked around. Like, really, I mean, for years everybody's been fucked around. We're just tired of people like Trump being able to take power and tell us as women or as people that we can't have Planned Parenthood, which we need.
It means that regardless of anything that's happening, I'm still having a good time with my best friends. We're all still here to do this, and it's America, and we're not all idiots.
Dude, fucking being punk is just doing your own shit like always. That's what it should be. Fucking just doing what you want to do and not giving a fuck.
So, in my personal opinion, I don't think that punk rock has to be directly affiliated with politics. I think it's a personal expression, and if you want to sing about politics, that's totally fine. And obviously it's preferred because it's very aggressive. But in my personal opinion, I choose to sing about other things that impact my life directly, not much politics. With that being said, I do think with the current situation, there's a lot more to fucking sing about.
Now that Trump's elected, his albums are going to be written all over again. It's like Reagan all over again.
A lot of punk rockers and oi bands sing about anti-fascism, anti-racism, which is very much predominant in American society and everywhere else in the world right now. So with that being said, I do think that there are going to be a lot of more punk bands singing a lot from the heart, but they're also going to be bringing in politics. There's going to be seeing a lot of what happens between them and other people going around in the fucking scene.
Keep it free. Keep it free. That's what fucking punk rock's about to me. Like, do whatever the fuck you want. You want to fucking do this? You want to do that? You fucking do it.
There's no fucking right or wrong answer to life.
Like, for me, being punk is about being anti-establishment and just fucking treating people the way that they should be, you know?
I mean, there's still, like, so many things we need to fight against. This whole, let's close this, like, national parks, that's crazy.
You really should be practicing what you preach and what you believe in.
Fuck the government,
fucking do what you want
fuck the system, extra fuck the current administration.
But yeah, it's nice to see like people come together and like do shit like this because it reminds me why I got into punk in the first place. Fucking Bush, Reagan, all that shit.
Hey guys, we got one more song left. Thanks for coming out. Let's have 66. Everybody get your fucking ass up here. I've not said this before, y'all know anyway, but you fucking know the song. Come on, this is the song that we fucking sing because every time we go on town with too many people. Festivals like this, we get to make new friends. So guys, if I got to meet you for the first time tonight, thank you so much. This song goes out to you. There's 5 people that hate that fucking song, and they trying to ruin it for us. So fuck those PC cunts. They knock us down. We're not in control. What the fuck you do? You don't like it? Fuck you. Thank you for supporting us. I don't know who we are. Every time
my cigarette? I kind of feel like shit because I kind of got Ash and Braxton's dad's gun because I was smoking it. Yeah. This way, right? Where's the fucking...
Yeah,
this one?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, shit. Oh, it's got the little
there
fucking...
you
It's got the little
Yes.
Shibuya fucking...
Yes!
The little things, dude.
Then you wave it, right?
Well, not really.
Alright! Let's wake the fuck up! Everybody here! Let's get this fucking circle pit going right now! Alright! Let's go! Let's get this fucking pit moving!
Since I had never been to a punk festival before, one of the first things I noticed was how many people there were my age or older. I remember discovering my first punk bands like Rancid and NoFX when I was 14, so I half expected the place to be swarmed with teenagers and a handful of concerned parents cowering in a corner, judging all the older punks for still having mohawks and studded bracelets. It also kind of worried me, which got me asking another question. Is punk still speaking to kids today like it did back when I was a kid? Or, hell, even before that?
Absolutely. I honestly think like now it's getting even bigger. Like in Austin, we only have really like a couple all ages venues, and we've seen a big rise in like the kids coming in, especially Dallas.
I think to an extent it is, and it's starting to again gain that same proliferation that it had in the past. And I don't know if I'd say 20-year cycles necessarily, but I'm hoping so at this point because I like what I'm seeing. There are a bunch of great bands coming out, and I mean, we're among them and having a good time doing it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Chris plays guitar into bad English.
I'm coming from where I have lived or I'm living and other scenes I've been in, no. I think that a lot of kids are getting influenced more by pop culture or rap stuff and urban stuff and trendy stuff.
I think it never stopped. There's always been new generations coming around. There's always people coming into fucking punk rock where this matters more to them than anything else. And it does to me. When I got into punk rock when I was 13 years old, this was my sanctuary. It was my home, and it has been that way ever since.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I grew up in a small town. I used to drive up all these little 15-year-olds when I was a senior in high school to see bands, and they're still coming out here to see them, so I definitely think it's a thing.
You know, there's definitely the people who grew up with it and were born into it and just kind of stuck with it, but there's not a lot of new blood to it. I think partly because, you know, it is kind of an abrasive thing with the fatalism aspect that a lot of people are embracing, no future, no hope, just want to drink and smoke and stuff. And while some people that may appeal to them, you know, sometimes something like this may seem intimidating almost, like, yeah, rebellion and stuff to the normal things, but I don't think it's as welcoming as some may have found it at a previous time.
Well, I mean, especially with all the political situations, like, a lot of people are getting really angry, and so, like, even no matter what age you are, like, it's never too late to get into punk rock, and, like, people automatically assume we're, like, a bunch of, like, evil bastards, but, you know, we're a lot of nice people, but we do have a lot of, like, political views on certain things, and so I think that it gives people a place to go and, like, be able to feel like they're welcome, because especially now, like, especially with women's rights, all this shit going on downhill, like, it gives us some sort of unity, like humanity again.
I think it speaks to everyone who's just like oppressed, and as long as you have a fucked up government like we do, like, there's always going to be oppression, and if there's oppression, there's going to be fucking some punks to say some shit about pushing.
When I got involved, I was 14 or 15 years old, hanging out with 20, 25-year-olds, you know, and not anything weird. It's just like, oh shit, we're all doing this weird, like, counterculture stuff, you know? And nowadays, it's, I don't know, everyone is 24, 25, or in their 30s. Shit, even a lot of the bands that are playing here, a lot of the dudes are late 20s into their 30s or above, you know? So obviously, I don't think it is getting to kids as much as it was.
Like, I don't think it necessarily doesn't speak to them now or any sort of point in time. What I think it was is that it never stopped, and it's just the people who have been involved at the period of time.
They're speaking to all the people who are already spoken to. You know, there's no new kids coming out, fresh blood being like, wow, this is fucking amazing, blowing things out. It's preaching to the choir, which, hey, it gives us more things to love, but it's not really, you don't have that welcoming feeling anymore. Those people who just want to fucking scream and go nuts. It's people who are already predisposed to it.
It's so great to see people I've never seen before, see young kids there, raging, getting crazy.
It speaks to me.
Douchebag named D. Snyder earlier at the fucking brunch party.
So you just got a tattoo, didn't you? Let's see.
I can't.
Oh. Well then.
It's all goes up to you! It's called We Are One! Let's fucking go!
Just like that, "Fuck You, We Rule OK" was over. In one drunken blur, it passed like a hurricane through the sleepy Midwest, leaving a torrent of cigarette butts and empty beer cans in its wake. One of my favorite bands, Against Me, has a song called TSR, which opens with the lyric, "The party's over, the CD skipping. It's the same hook repeating." This really echoed in my brain as I fought off a massive hangover and loaded up the lucky blue Ford Taurus and began to trudge back west, past the wild weirdness of America. The songs of my favorite band still ringing in my head. It was a well-needed reminder for planet Earth that punk is not dead, and furthermore, it will refuse to fucking die, whether it's wanted or not, or even needed or not. Its piss-drunk, studded heart continues to beat on. I think you've seen enough of me for now.
What have we really done too, you know? It's like, yeah, this is cool as shit and all that.
Last question, in one word, describe the pit.
One word. Fun.
Well, that was cool.
Dude, get it. I just got it like a week ago and it's all bendy.
One word, describe the pit.
It hurts as you get older.
The pit, I'm gonna get the shit knocked out of me, but I'm gonna love every minute of it.
Last question, in one word, describe the pit.
Fucking batshit crazy.
Describe the pit in one word.
Fucking orgasm.
It's a fucking good time for sure. It's a, oh, I got one, therapy. It's a fucking good ass therapy.
Bruce.
This was fun. I'm so glad you invited me.
Yep.
Want me to come back next year?
Duh.
Alright, good.
Cause I'm going anyway, bitch. Just kidding.
Nah, if you don't want me to go, I won't.
Oh, fuck no, I won't. Of course I do.
I'm still filming. I've been filming this whole time. Son of a bitch. Whoops. I didn't realize I had the record on.
I didn't.
Okay, well that's gonna make some great like after credits footage right there.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.